All right, okay, we're here with our We Go There video blog series, and I'm so excited because we have naturopathic Dr. Rachel here to talk all about pregnancy. Rachel has a clinic at DuPont Naturopathic Clinic, and specializes in women, hormones, fertility, and it's actually a family clinic. So in addition to that, of course, because that wouldn't be enough, she also, since 2003, has been a doula for supporting women going through labor for 300 women. So that is amazing.
Thank you.
So we've got so much to talk about. I need to know, I think a lot of questions that we get, and I definitely had coming, especially the first time you are pregnant and you're going through kind of the motions of that pre-pregnancy type time in your life where you're not really telling people about it, you don't really know what to do to care for yourself and baby, and you're also just generally terrified. The level of anxiety of the entire process is really high. So what can we do? We find out we're pregnant, what's the first thing you do?
Build your team.
Build your team. Okay,
Build
I
your
love
team.
that.
Build your team.
And
get your support. You don't need to be fearful in this process. I really believe birth is it's powerful.
Right.
And this is as women, this is the most natural process that we can go through. This is not us sick.
Yeah.
This is us actually really, really healthy and well.
Right.
And so build your team. Decide who you're going to go with, an OB or a midwife. I would suggest, of course, seeing a naturopath. I would suggest having a doula, supporting your birth. Get your pelvic floor therapist.
Yes.
Get your team. A chiro is a great thing,
Yeah.
especially towards the end of pregnancy.
Acupuncture, I did acupuncture leading up to.
Acupuncture is great. So as naturopathic doctors, we do acupuncture. So we do a lot to prep the body as a naturopath, we use herbs, we use homeopathics, we use acupuncture, and these are all the things to have a really healthy, easy pregnancy, and even better, an easy labor, right? Labor, I think we can make labor really manageable if we prepare the body for it. I always kind of give that example of running a marathon. I would never just put on my shoes and go run a full marathon.
Yes, exactly.
We prepare our body. It's birth it's a marathon. It's a long, let's say 24 hours. And so we want to really be prepared.
And so leading into actually, so I'm 35 weeks.
Yes.
Really getting there.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest I should be doing right now to kind of be, I know there's things I should be doing leading up, of course, ahead.
So first of all, being active, I think, is hugely important.
Yeah.
So walking and just, every time we kind of walk and we move and we climb stairs, we jiggle that baby in our pelvis, right? And that's what we really want. And the way we sit. So I see more and more, I see more and more babies that are born OP, which is their head down but their face up, and it's a harder delivery because we sit like this and we create this hammock
exactly
for the baby. So you need to sit on a ball, on an exercise ball, because you can't fall back.
Right.
And that's really important.
And that's throughout your pregnancy. You should probably
and especially in that third trimester as the baby's getting bigger, and we want to again have really good motion in our pelvis.
Right.
So those are things that everybody can do.
And what about I've heard I think for Piper I did primrose oil out there.
Yeah, you can insert after. I wait until women are usually 36 or full term, depending if it's their first baby or subsequent in their history. But by 36, 37 weeks, one right up the vaginal canal before bed, and I usually do a couple orally. Red raspberry leaf tea is really great.
Yes.
Acupuncture is, again, as we mentioned, is really great. And then we have a slew of remedies we can do and herbal tinctures that we can do, which are really sort of individually based on the person.
Right.
Lots of options.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, and I know because when we chatted earlier, we talked about the perineum massage and just the advantages of doing that.
Yeah.
But also, I know none of my friends would ever have their husband go there.
Which I think
and
is really funny because, I think it's so funny. It's how was the baby made?
Which is actually a really good way to
think. He touched it. And probably did way more. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
Obviously. So that's one thing to think about. The research on perineal massage, there's never really been a good study done on it.
Right.
So, but I think if anything, it is about bringing comfort to that area that when we have this big belly, the vaginas swell a little bit. It's a bit more like there's congestion in that pelvic floor, and so I think just the touch in that area can be really actually calming and help to eliminate some of the fear and get women just more comfortable with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost making it a little bit medical, because it's going, like, people are just going to be getting in there.
Preparing that, exactly.
Yeah, and preparing. And I also think there's no harm in massaging tissue.
Right.
Like, study or no study, there's really no harm in doing that at all.
And so moving into the actual, like, okay, this is happening, I'm in labor, active labor. We really want to go there with the things that happen, because I think it's just so lightly discussed a lot of the times in, like, pooping during labor, tearing, like all of those things that really, like, it's just it's hard to.
Okay, first of all, to push, you need to poo.
Okay, amazing.
So whether you poo or you don't, like, there's a baby's head that is pushing on your rectum, and so yes, you get the sensation that you have to poo,
right?
And you might, and I'm gonna say, if you do, you're actually doing it right.
Right.
Then you're gonna be, like, quote unquote, a really good pusher, which means that this will be
you're not.
I mean, I really wasn't a good pusher. I don't know. So, like, I had to do it for so long. Like, why?
Right.
So, you know, it can help to make the process just move along faster.
And that it's normal, and not to
very
be worried
normal.
about it going into it. Because I think so many of my friends, and myself included, like, my husband's in the room, I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna poop? Oh my goodness.
I mean,
but I don't even actually know if I did. I'm sure I did, but I'm not sure.
Your health professionals are, like, super modest for you. So they're going to, like, take care of the area. Your partner maybe is, like, right at the foot of the bed, but I mean, my experience is the partners are up here.
Yeah.
They're kind of seeing, but they don't see that rectal area. Right. So, I mean, I just think we just have to, like, let it go. And also, to have a baby, our bodies are really smart again, and we need to clear our bodies out, which means we need maximum room to have a baby. We barf, we poop. These are the things.
I definitely barf.
These are the things that happen to help your baby come.
And it's interesting, because a lot of times leading up to, again, not talked about, I didn't realize this until I find the week leading up to when you actually go into labor, so many things are happening to your body.
Yeah, because your body's preparing.
Like the mucus plug, and then
it's emptying.
And, like, people having diarrhea, all the things, and it's the emptying,
of your body. Yeah.
So I feel that
my third baby was that OP baby. So the back of his head was literally pushing on my bowels.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't pretty sad.
It's uncomfortable.
But whatever. It's like, we move on from these things. It's okay.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's actually, I think, it's all very natural and the beautiful part.
Yeah. And talking about beautiful, tearing.
Yes, vaginas too.
So that's another piece that I think people are just so worried about, like, going into, they're like, am I going to tear? That's going to be awful. Like, what can I expect? What are there things I could do that will make it less likely?
So first, I think there's an idea that, like, all women tear.
Yeah.
And not all women do tear.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's one like, just thing to think about. You don't
have to tear.
You don't have to tear. So, and as we talked about earlier, like, midwives, and this is all based on research, I mean, midwives keep an intact perineum 60% of the time versus an OB, which is 30% of the time. So, you know, like, if we just look at our stats and you want to minimize your tearing, I would really suggest that you look at having a midwife supporting you. I mean, my midwife literally sat there with warm compresses and olive oil on my perineum and softened the whole area and let my first baby take his time coming out, probably the blessing of that longer state of pushing, and, like, I didn't tear at all.
And so,
I
had a midwife, I didn't tear.
Yeah, so, you know, and I mean, and then the other fear is the episiotomies, and it is better to tear than it is to have an episiotomy, because the tissue, the way it tears is just thinner versus, like, a thick cut.
Right.
And OBs are 5 times as likely than a midwife to give you an episiotomy. So these are the things that are, like, hugely fearful.
Yeah.
And then also the beauty of the body, again, is, like, everything is repairable and everything goes back and everything works really well.
Yeah. So what are the things that we can be doing post baby to care for ourselves and our bodies? If you've torn, if you've Like,
so a lot of this kind of falls on the women,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it's up to like you as the birthing woman to like make your padscicles, right?
So what's in a padsicle?
Yeah, I mean I love padscicles. So
Yeah.
I like to put aloe, fresh aloe on a padsicle because aloe is very cooling. And if you think about the heat of inflammation in the vaginal area, we want to cool it, and I like to put witch hazel on it. Because witch hazel is what we call an astringent. It helps to kind of pull out that inflammation.
Right.
So those are two great things. Sometimes women make those sitz baths that you
Yes.
buy. So then if you like boiled up the herbs and put the sitz bath to like put your bottom in, I'd actually stick a pad or two in the water that have the herbs on it. And then you could actually put aloe on it and witch hazel and then stuff them in the freezer. My only other suggestion is don't buy like the super pads, because then you take them out as like a big brick and you're like, how does this fit?
Well, that's
so
what
just
everyone
like
tells
a
me to
regular,
get them. Like they're like
I would
this.
actually, I would just get like a regular size,
Okay.
not like a panty liner, just like a regular size pad.
Yeah.
And use that. So that's a great thing to have at home. And to make, I mean, of course, a freezer full of food and make sure people, I would like, whoever comes to your house, they come
That's what
empty-handed without like food, like, I don't know, send
Yeah.
them away.
No,
Like,
they need. That's
yeah,
the first
so
thing I learned after having a baby was like only food, bring food.
And then women are really good doers.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest that you you practice the art of not doing. And that means staying in your bed with your baby, like drinking, eating, sleeping, ideally nursing your baby, and like that's all you do.
Yeah. That's
Right?
amazing.
Which is a lot because you're like feeding a human.
Yeah, exactly.
And healing,
But
from
heal.
birthing a human.
But I think it's important to have that permission to heal. I
Yes,
think
and
that's
not
really
the
important.
laundry and not the cooking and not the making someone else coffee and someone else tea. I also say like, if you don't feel comfortable with that person coming to your bed because you should be in your bed, then that person shouldn't come over.
Right.
So like my friends would come with like big
Limits
fruit
to-
platters and we would like all have like a bed in.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
It was really beautiful.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go make padscicles because I definitely need those.
Yes.
I made them last time and they were this big. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's like putting an ice brick.
Yeah,
in
exactly,
between your legs.
exactly.
It's not
It wasn't
comfortable.
pretty. And I'm gonna make some of those for sure. And I appreciate all of these tips and tricks and just giving that permission, which I'm gonna take personally
Yeah.
to heal and chill in my bed. So you'll find me there in probably around 5 weeks, give or take.
Well, good luck. It's a beautiful time. You don't get it very often.
It's so
right?
true. And thank you, Rachel, so much.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have Rachel's Instagram so you can follow her. She has such an amazing Instagram feed
Thank
with
you.
so many tips and tricks. And then also, of course, her naturopathic clinic you can check out. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So great.